Google and AI search is changing everything. I mean, how we used to find things is not how we're finding things anymore. And when we're talking business, this is serious. It affects your bottom line. And honestly, it affects your sanity, business owners. So, what are we going to talk about today? The title is We're Winning When Users Don't Click. SEO and visually in a zero click era. And we're going to even talk about what is that. So, if you're a business owner, you want to listen to this. We have an expert on today that you want to hear from. This may sound boring, but this is critical information. I'm going to tell you, you're going to want to listen. Welcome to season 7 of Referral Roadmap, business growth in an age of AI and uncertainty. This season, we're cutting through the noise and getting real about what actually moves the needle for small businesses in 2026. From AI tools that save you time, to winning in the zero-click search era, to building teams and systems, resilience, and a referral engine that still wins even in a digital age. We're giving you strategies you'll need to grow with confidence no matter what the economy throws your way. Let's dive in. You're not going to want to miss this one. And for those of you who are joining us, thank you so much for being here. We so appreciate you. We cannot believe this is season 7. Yay! We're excited. But I want you guys to please remember, like and subscribe, do all that stuff that people say that you need to do. But more importantly, I promise you, you'll want to share this. There is a business owner you know that needs to hear what we're talking about in this series and especially today. I know personally, I just have to tell you, Griffin is an expert that I pay to teach myself and my team. This is information you're going to want to listen to because it's going to have an impact. So thank you for being here. But Jada, will you do us a favor? Because I got to tell you, before I met Griffin, I didn't know what zero click search even meant. So can you explain to us out in the world what that means?
Yes, well, I'm excited to nerd out today. So, Athena already told you guys we have Griffin here on our podcast, so I'll introduce him. We'll give him a formal introduction here in a minute. But jumping into what we're talking about today, it is the zero-click search, and really what that means is users are typing in questions into Google or asking it out loud through Siri, Alexa, or AI search like ChatGPT, and they get the answer immediately without ever clicking through to a website. So this is happening more and more. Studies show that over half of Google searches now end without a click. Instead, the answer shows up in a featured snippet, a knowledge panel, or directly in AI-powered summaries. So for small business owners, this changes the rules of visibility. It's no longer just about ranking on page 1 of Google. It's about being the source that Google or AI pulls into those quick answers. So here's kind of what that means in practice. You want to have those featured snippets, those short answer boxes at the top of Google. People also ask that drop down question that expands with quick answers. Voice search results, the single answer read back by Siri, Alexa, or Google Assistant. AI search summaries, when tools like ChatGPT or Google's AI overviews summarize multiple sources, the content they trust most gets quoted. So in short, zero click doesn't mean you can't win. It just means that the strategy needs to shift. So instead of focusing only on your traffic, the goal is authority and visibility, making sure that your brand is the one that shows up as the trusted source, even if a user doesn't click through to your website. So that is what we'll be talking about today. But we do have an SEO expert because Athena and I are by no means an expert in this at all. We do like to nerd out on it though. But Griffin is our guest today. He is the founder of Griffin Mott Consulting, an SEO agency based in Kansas City. He's always had a passion for learning and is self-taught SEO guru. His agency focuses on helping small businesses grow their web traffic and conversions organically rather than relying solely on ads. So while he does offer pay-per-click advertising, he prefers to save clients that money by gaining traffic organically through search engine optimization, or SEO. He understands how hard it is to operate every aspect of a business, especially a small business, and his goal is to take marketing off the business owner's plate so that they can focus on their passions while his passion helps their business grow. Thank you for being here with us today, Griffin.
Thanks for having me. Excited to nerd out with you guys.
I love it. Welcome to Nerdville. We're both a bunch of nerds, so this
Population
is
3.
good. Hey, you know what? It doesn't matter. I mean, because the world needs some nerds occasionally. I'm just telling you. And we say that affectionately in the kindest way. If you're a nerd like us, yes, unite. If you're not, you're welcome here too. What we mean by that is that we love to seek knowledge and we love to learn. And Griffin, I'm really excited. Now, I'm going to tell you. Um, Usually, Griffin, I have some experience, expertise. I don't on this. You are teaching me what I do know because what I did know is out of date. So, audience, I just want to let you know we have drafted the questions. He's helped me come up with the questions. Even the rubber meets the road. I had him help me make sure that we did it correctly. So, just so you know, we actually are being transparent here that we have the expert. He helped us create this podcast to be as useful as possible. And I know, Jada, probably at the end, you'll have ways if somebody wants to hire him to get connected with him. So
Absolutely.
awesome. All right. I only say that because if you're going to be like me, you're going to be like, oh, good Lord, I don't need to know this. Let me just hire Griffin. Um, but but let's get this started. What exactly, Griffin, is zero click search and why should a small business owner care about that right now?
Yeah, so zero click search is kind of a new way of search. People are talking about all these different ways of what SEO is turning into. They're coming up with acronyms that don't mean anything: AEO, GEO, SEO, which does mean something. But all of it really does funnel back into the whole process of SEO, which is basically helping businesses, websites, Google business profiles show up on Google without um, you having to pay for it, basically organically getting you free leads, free clients. And so the ways you do that is basically providing content that is relevant to Google. They've released quite a few updates over the past few years. Their famous one was the EEAT, which is basically just making sure you have authoritative content and making sure that it is helpful to users. So what they're looking for is basically you have the answers to their questions, and they want to make sure that they're providing it to the person who's searching it. So when you look at zero click now, it is turning into AI overviews, which is the very top of Google. I'm sure everyone's
Hmm.
noticed it. It's turned into rich snippets, which has always been a thing, but it is still a thing, and it's not going away anytime soon. Google Maps is another one as well, where people can click directly from your Google business profile. And even just things like reviews are popping up all over different LLMs, ChatGPT, Perplexity, Gemini. Um, people or Google wants to refer companies to people that have good reviews, and so this is why local SEO is so important. It's an aspect of SEO. So local SEO is basically optimizing for people in your general area. So for me in Kansas City, I optimize my business specifically for people in Kansas City, but that's also surrounding cities like Overland Park, Leawood, Lee Summit. Um, and the ways you can do that, one is through Google Business Profile, which I'm sure we'll go into later in this podcast, um, which is basically when you search a company and then those top three Google Maps results appear. That is what your Google Business Profile shows up on. Um, it's your websites, making sure you have the right keywords in there to target your area specifically, whether it's zip codes, whether it's towns that you operate in, whether it's service areas. Um, but yeah, we're now in an age where people can get an answer that's not on a
Hmm.
website, and it's frustrating for website owners to see traffic go down. And I'd like to tell you that all we can do is, make it go up. But right now, sometimes it is just pausing that decline and seeing if we can get it to stop the
Hmm.
hemorrhaging, figuring out
Yeah.
what people are searching for, and then optimizing that for AI overviews.
Yeah. I'll tell you, thank you for that. Because I mean, obviously, that's one of the reasons why we hired you. We had an extremely robust website at the home building business, and all of a sudden, this extremely well-oiled machine started slowing down, and we weren't smart enough to understand at first what was causing it, and but it certainly impacted our business. And I think that on my consulting business side, I'm seeing that across the board, no matter what industry you're in, how big your company is, we're all being impacted by this. And so what are we doing, right? What are we doing to be in front of it, stay in front of it, and understand it? So thank you. I do want to go a little bit because you talked about how can a business optimize their content to increase the chances of showing up on that stidmit or Google am I saying that right? Snippet?
Snippet.
Snippet,
Snippet?
yeah.
Snippet.
Snippet? Um, because I mean, how do you even do that? I don't know that how to do that. So how does a business do that?
Yeah, so there's a few different ways. One is just providing answers to questions that people are searching
Okay.
for. People almost always on Google are searching for an answer to something,
Mhm.
or they're searching for like basically a commercial transaction looking for purchase. And so if you can provide that answer or that commercial transaction, then you're most likely winning. But The biggest thing that I see is answering questions that people are searching for, but you've got to know what questions people are searching for. Because if you're answering questions you think they're searching for, there's a chance that no one is ever searching that, or maybe one person a month, and you're never going to get traffic, or it's not going to be worth it. So, number one is FAQs. I think that's really important. There's different ways that you can find those FAQs. If you think that or want to know if people are searching for that, type it into Google. Go to an incognito browser where Google doesn't know your search history, doesn't know what websites you normally visit, and type in that primary keyword, which is what people are going to be using it for, or basically what they'll be searching. And then you'll scroll down to the people also ask, and you'll see a list of like 5 or 6 questions for that keyword that will help you determine what are similar questions, because people, like Google says, are also asking. So answering those questions that are on the people also ask, just scrolling through websites too. A lot of websites have FAQs, so you can find what people are looking for. But Google really wants, what I learned in the ACT when I was taking that in high school was the 3 C's, which is clarity, cohesiveness, and conciseness. And so Google wants that. They want you to be able to answer the question in 1, 2, or 3 sentences. They don't want to have to dig through 7 sentences of marketing fluff, as they call it. So if you can provide a helpful answer, that is number one for Google. The second one is going to be on headings. As you scroll through a web page, it should be separated into headings. Otherwise, it gets very, very clogged, and there's a lot to read. So separating those into headings, that's an easy way to get your keyword in there. So make sure your primary keyword is going to be your main heading, which is your title, basically. And then make sure that the subheadings help with that. So, for an article about the cost of lawn care, you want a subheading that is maybe average cost of lawn care in 2025. You maybe want one that is a lawn care cost calculator. You maybe want one that is, the cost per square foot for lawn care. So making sure you get that keyword of lawn care in there, as well as these other topics that people are searching for, that'll help show Google your authority, that you know the topic very, very well, and you can go in depth on it. The last thing really is just making it scannable. I mean, people don't want to sit there and read a 2,000 word blog post. If we did that, we'd all be academics. But basically, it's just scannable content. So separate your paragraphs up, make it easy so people can skim and scan. A lot of people really don't need to read the whole article. They're looking for 4 sentences in it. So the easier you can make it to find those 4 sentences, the easier it is for the user, and the easier it is for Google.
Isn't it crazy? I mean, so everything you just said is basically you've got to create content that gives people the answer as quick as possible. You have to know what they're Googling,
Mm-hmm.
searching. And you need to give them the answer as quick as possible, as concisely as possible, as quick as possible. I mean, talk about our attention spans.
They're gone.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, seriously though, like we are instant gratification society.
Yeah. And the best
Um,
example I can come up with is, when someone's searching, I can't tell you how many times I've been at a restaurant and I've gotten into a lively discussion, debate, and I'm not going to say that I'm wrong. And so what do? If we're looking up who the MVP was in the NFL in 2010, we're going to immediately just go search. But how many times do you end up on a website? I mean, almost none at this point, because AI
mm-mm.
Overviews provides that
Yeah,
answer. And it'll say Tom Brady was the MVP in 2010. And if for some reason I don't believe it, or I was wrong and I want to, fact check it, I'll scroll down, but I'll never click on a website, because there are articles that will have in the meta description right below the title, it says Tom Brady, Tom Brady, Tom Brady, and that it's facts there.
yeah.
So
Well, you know what's crazy? I was telling Jada this on episode 1 of this series. I had friends over and we were watching baseball. Athena doesn't watch baseball. And but they wanted to, so I'm a good friend. So we were watching baseball and we were asking questions and they literally just had chat up. They didn't even have Google. And they were just going to chatty, they're going to AI to answer the question. And it was like AI was in the room with us now.
bring your
I'm
best
like,
friend.
yeah, right? And so it's just in the instant, like you just want the answer as quick as possible. So it's good to know as business owners, if you think about how we're using it, in personal, we as the business have got to make it to where we come up with the answers. But next question here, what role does voice search play today? I mean, how can small businesses prepare their contact for things like Alexa and Siri? I haven't even thought about this, but Siri's who read out loud.
Yeah, so that's a new one. I've always just been one of those people that prefers to type it, and so this whole voice search thing was like, oh, people are really doing this. And I actually used ChatGPT search for the first time ever, voice search, probably 3 weeks ago, and I was surprised just with all the information that came up. Um, I know it pulls from ChatGPT, which pulls from Google, and so it pulls basically all of your SEO anyways. But just the response time, I was very, very impressed by how quickly it pulled information, but also how in depth it still went, even when I was doing voice search. So, yeah, voice search is really important. Um, you think about it like I talked earlier. It's clarity, cohesiveness, and conciseness. Um, if someone is using voice search, it's a lot easier to just hold a button and say, what are the best Italian restaurants in Kansas City? And then ChatGPT is not going to respond saying, in the ever evolving landscape of Italian restaurants in Kansas City, they're going to provide you an actual answer um, that they find on Google. And so that's going to be pulled from Google business profiles. That's going to be pulled from the top 3 websites. And most likely, ChatGPT will respond and say, here are the top 3 restaurants. You can even ask them what are the best restaurants based off reviews and ratings, and they'll pull that based off Yelp, OpenTable, your Google business profiles as well. So making sure that all of your basically there are a bunch of different facets to make sure that you're optimized for SEO and for ChatGPT and voice search, and so that's one of them. Another example is when you're just looking for basic information. Say it's Christmas Eve and you haven't done shopping yet, which I've definitely never been in that situation. But I do a quick voice search of, hey, what stores are open? It's 9 p.m. What stores are open at 9 p.m. on Christmas Eve? Um, it does pull information from what they see on Google. So that's another thing, is making sure that you are updated on Google, making sure that you are relevant and reliable. Nothing turns off a customer more than going to a place and seeing that it's closed and there's no one in the parking lot. Um, that happens all the time. And so, especially on Christmas Eve at 9 p.m., there aren't going to be many stores open for very long, if any. And so, you want to make sure that you're the one that's showing up. So, making sure your hours are updated, making sure your services are updated, making sure your website's updated. And then the other thing with voice search too is, if you've used it, it takes milliseconds to pull that information and give you an answer. And so, if they're pulling it from your website, not your Google business profile, you've got to make sure your website's fast. You've got to make sure you have quick loading speeds. You've got to make sure that the answer isn't buried under all of this content, which is why, like we've talked about, the conciseness of an FAQ, or the conciseness of the first couple sentences in an introduction or in the subheadings. That is so, so important, because Google is just scanning real quick. And once it finds reliable information over and over, it'll tell you that thing and then give you the 2 or 3 sources that it links back to.
Wow, excellent information there, and has got my brain going because I don't use these.
Mhm.
Even in my car, I won't say what kind of car I have, but my car is very sophisticated, and it talks to me, like, when I turn my car on, it says, "Welcome back, Athena," for real, and it will talk to me, and I say its name. It has a name, which is his brand, and I say the name, and it tells me. It's the only place I actually use it. I don't use it in the other places. But now you've got me thinking that I need to have my team and I go into these voice activated things and start asking it questions that our clientele for both of my businesses would be asking.
It's the best way to test it. One, if
Yeah.
you're showing up, even if they're quoting it, because after you search on something on voice, as long as you're not driving, you can scroll through and see what links that it's linking back to.
Yeah.
So you can see if you're linking there, and then if you're not linking there and you think it's something you should be, that's a great idea to write a page or an article or blog post about, so
Mm,
that you can get ranking in that.
I love that. Thank you. I didn't even think about that. Now my head is spinning of things um to do um because I haven't even looked at that has not even been on my radar. So thank you for bringing that to our attention.
And
And
that's
there are
my job.
probably
It's
people.
not yours.
Yeah,
That's not
thank
something a
God.
business owner
Thank
should just
God.
be thinking. They shouldn't.
We'd be out of business already. So I have to just laugh because it's only because of my car that I even use it because she's so friendly. So all right, another question, because we've got some really good ones. I want to make sure we have time to get through these. How does AI driven search results like Google AI overviews, you've talked about this a number of times, and chat GPT responses decide which sources to quote? And I know this is new technology, so I'm not going to nail you on this, but based on what you know.
Yeah, so it pulls from a bunch of different factors. The main one is going to be from the Google search results. So they used to be able to scrape, um, ChatGPT, Perplexity. They used to be able to scrape the first 10 pages of Google's, which is 100 search results. Google has now monopolized that, so they can only search the first page. So the only way, as of now, is that you can by showing up on these LLMs, is that you are ranking on the first page of Google, um, which is hard for any business, especially those just starting out, because to rank on Google, you need to show Google that you have authority. You need to show Google you're relevant. You need to show Google that you have all these citations. If you've got a listing on Yelp, the Better Business Bureau, that all sends signals to Google saying I'm here, I'm relevant, I'm important. Read my stuff. And so that's important, is those authority signals, showing Google that you're a real business. Ranking in the top 10 now is one of the few ways to do it. Like I've talked about, and again, I'm gonna keep hammering this point home because it's how you get there, is easy to read content, clear answers, and conciseness. Um, even if you want to use AI for this, you still can. I'm not saying to not use AI, because I use AI quite a bit to write articles, but there's ways to personalize it. Um, and one thing too is just, you can even ask, optimize this for an AI overview, and it'll optimize it. It'll ask the question, it'll restate the question and answer, and it'll answer it in 1 to 2 sentences. And so that's an easy way to get those answers. Obviously, fact check it, make sure it's right. Um, and then the last thing is really just showing topical authority. So ChatGPT wants to send someone to a source that they know has a lot of authority on a topic. So, for example, I'm working with a chiropractor right now, and it's a tool called siloing, um, where basically you have one main keyword, and then it'll branch off into 4 or 5 keywords, and then that'll branch off into 4 or 5 keywords, and it just becomes a super long tree of questions that you can answer. And it takes a long time to exhaust all those questions. So don't think that you're done when you're done. But for this example, if I'm writing something about chiropractic marketing, I'm going to have a page that links to it that is about local SEO for chiropractor. I'm going to have a page that links to it that is lead generation for chiropractors. I'm going to have one that is Facebook
Mm.
ads for chiropractors. And it all links back to that chiropractic marketing page. And then ChatGPT, Perplexity, Google, all of them that are looking at it and ranking it, sees that you have a lot of authority on one topic. Um, and so that helps Google show that this is important and this is a website that I want to send somebody to.
Is that tool that you showed, my team the other
It
day?
is. Yep.
Oh, okay, you
Yep.
guys, I am a nerd, but Jada will tell you, if there's too much data, sometimes my eyes go, "Wee," unless it's a P&L or something that talks about revenue, and but I actually he showed this, and I was like, "Oh, did I not nerd out?" I
Oh,
was like,
no, you
"Whoa."
totally did, and I'll, speak to that. There's times where, if you're familiar with the DISC personalities, the DISC, there are times where I have to start an email to Athena with "put on your C hat" because I know it's going to have too many details for what she would normally want to read. And so it's just so funny because we were totally nerding out on that, and that is
Yeah.
not something Athena would normally be like all
No.
about.
So if anyone needs that tool, it's called answerthepublic.com. It's a great tool, a free account. You can do 3 searches a day, but basically type in a primary keyword, for that example, maybe chiropractic marketing. And then you'll have to wait for it, maybe a minute for it to load, but then go to the people also ask, and it just creates this giant web of all of these topics you can write about, and then the questions that people. So that's where you can also find the people also ask features. You get 3 free searches per day, so make sure you use all of those. Otherwise, I think the membership or the annual cost is very cheap that you can use. But it does help lay out that silo structure and that tree structure that.
Tell you listeners, if we just shut the podcast right now and you just did what he just told you, you could expand your business right now. The reason I nerded out on it is because it's very rare for me to see something where I instantly in my business brain is like, that right there, that is going to make us money. That's going to help us beat our competition. What the resource he just gave you, he should be charging you hundreds of
Oh,
dollars for right now. Um, but now you've got to execute. That's the thing. You've got to download this resource, listens to this expert, and then go build the content. Again, I just hope you listen. I know for us, well, you're helping us, thank goodness, but you're going to help us do nerd out and create that content. So, thank you for sharing that resource. You certainly did not have to. I really appreciate that. One thing is we stay on this question, then I want to go on, but one thing you told me that I want business people to hear, and I really appreciated your honesty, is you told me right up the front, you said, Athena, because I told you in one of our first conversations, I said, as a business owner, I want you to get me on that AI when they, I want to be on there. I'm very competitive. And I was like, I want that now. And you were like, okay. And you're competitive and you're like, okay, I'm on that. But I'm also going to be honest with you. What you're asking for is not easy. Now, fortunately, the company that we were asking for, we had a lot of content and you were smart enough to go straight after what we needed. And it didn't take you long to help us get where we wanted to be. But can you speak to the people who are like me that are like, but I want to be there now? And where you are honest enough to say, hey, you've got to put some things in place before you're going to win that.
Yeah, yeah, it's this is something I've told Athena and Jada and the team over there is, SEO is such a hard thing to market because I can tell you that something's gonna work, but you're not gonna see it for 3 to 6 months, and you just have to sit there and you have to trust that it's gonna work, and it's the scariest thing. I mean, it's a terrifying profession to tell people, "Hey, I need you to pay me, but you're not gonna see results for 3 to 6 months, and I'm sorry, but I can't do anything about it." So, um I think the hardest thing that and one of the biggest lessons I learned is just keep going because even with my own website, I had to start that from the scratch. I know how SEO works, but it's hard to get, backlinks from other websites which show your authority. So, you need links from, for example, this podcast would send a link to my website, or you need to be in interviews or other podcasts, or even just connecting with a company. Maybe you're a construction company and you've got other partners, they can link back to your site. So building those connections, building those backlinks, building that authority is the biggest thing to help you start showing Google that you're important. And then the other thing is, it really is just don't give up, keep creating content. I know I hear it a lot on social media. Um, people are saying you're one post away, from it actually blowing up and from things just turning the corner. And honestly, about 7 months ago, I was almost done with this. I was like, I mean, it's fun, it's addicting, but um, I'm not seeing any traffic. And then the next day, I had the biggest traffic boost on my website that I've ever seen. And so I was like, this is it. It was stuff I put in, the work 3, 6 months ago, and it finally paid off. So one thing is keep going, and the other one is it does take time, but connecting with others and getting links from other websites to your website will help you rank there as well. And lastly, the other one is keywords. I know I've done a lot of keyword research for Athena, but finding those keywords that nobody's targeting. I mean, there are always keywords that your website can rank for, no matter how new it is. You just have to be able to find that, and it does take a lot of time and it does take a lot of skill. I wouldn't recommend doing it on your own, so you can reach out to me and I can help you with that. Um, but that is the way you do it. Is you've got to start with these long tail, which is basically 4 words or more, a search query. Um, so what is the lawn care cost in Kansas? That's like
Mhm.
7 or 8 words, but it's probably one that you can actually compete for. So, um, yeah, I would say that was it.
Excellent. I appreciate that. I just wanted to be honest because I don't want other people to get frustrated because you're right. It's a long game. And it's not a do it and get a result kind of situation.
And it's
And
compounding.
it is compounding,
Yeah.
but it reminds me of, and I teach people this all the time, and Jada knows this factually now. She doesn't need to hear me talk about it. In sales, whatever activities we do today, it's in 90 days you'll see the results. The
Mhm.
the thing is we live in an instant gratification world, and in business, the activities we do today do not bring us instantaneous results. So we have to understand that I don't care how we're wired, business doesn't care. It's
Mhm.
still gonna take a second. So, just have that mindset as you're doing this. Um, anyway, I wanna ask a couple more questions here, but for a business owner who doesn't have a big budget, okay? They don't have a big marketing team, they don't have a Jada, they don't have, that kinda thing. What's the simplest first step they can take to improve their visibility in the new search landscape that we're in today?
Yeah. The first thing is get a site audit done. DM me on LinkedIn. You can find me there. I'll put it. They'll be in the show notes and everything too. But please DM me. I will do a free site audit for you. Because you don't want to mess up things that are working, and that would be more frustrating for a business owner to think that a page isn't working because you're not getting traffic. You messed it up, and then all of a sudden your traffic dips to zero. So, please DM me. I will do a free site audit for you and give you, some quick things that you can fix. You can find me on LinkedIn, but. Um, I would say that's the biggest thing is make sure you know what's wrong before doctors don't just go in and fix something without knowing what's wrong first. So make sure
Wise.
that you know what's there.
Mhm.
And then there's 3 just main things I think that you can take care of at the just to get started is 1, clean up your headings. Make sure that your title tag correctly reflects your primary keyword for that page. So, back to the chiropractor example, if you're writing about chiropractic lead generation, make sure that those 3 words are in the title and not just chiropractic marketing, because Google is going to read that as, oh, this page is about chiropractic marketing, and then all you talk about is lead generation, and it's going to get really, really confused. And make sure the subheadings follow that as well. So in your
Yeah.
subheadings, make sure you talk about, how do I generate chiropractic leads, or what tools are available for chiropractic lead generation. So make sure that you throw that in there. The second one is going to be make sure your primary keyword is in that page multiple times. Um, SEO used to be so easy. You could literally just put the keyword more than second place or first place, and you would rank ahead of them no matter what else your content said. So keyword stuffing is gone, unfortunately. They want you to provide actual details and actual relatable content to humans. So
Mhm.
make sure it's in there, and make sure it's in there comfortably. It's not just thrown in there randomly, and it doesn't make any sense, because Google will understand that. There are a few, Chrome extensions you can use to see how many times a website has their keyword in. One is the detailed extension, and the other one is page audit.
Mhm.
You can look at those on Chrome and find those, and then you just type in the main keyword on any competitor's website, and you can see, oh, they've used it 13 times. I need to use it 14. Um, and lastly, like I've talked about, is the FAQs. There's no way, easier way to rank on Google or in LLMs right now than FAQs, because you are directly answering a question that people are searching for,
Mhm.
as long as you have the right questions. So add 4 to 6 questions. Like I said, if you know your primary keyword, go onto Google on an incognito browser, type it in, go to the people also ask, or you can go to the answer the public website.
Mhm.
You will find all of those questions people are asking, and then just answer them in 1 to 2 sentences if you can. You can also use AI to do this too. Type out an answer in AI and say, optimize this for AI overviews, and people also ask, and then it'll put it in 2 to 3 sentences, pop that in your website, and I think that's how we've seen success with Athena right now.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Mhm.
Again, my heart is that you guys are taking notes. This is extremely valuable. And by the way, we pay him to do all of this for us, and he's sharing these tips with you for free. Now, fortunately for us, and if you can't afford him, I highly suggest, if you have the budget, to make the budget for him, because he can take a lot of this off your plate so that you can focus on other things, because the market is challenging right now. But if you don't, please write down what he's telling you. I know, Jaden, our heart is for you to thrive no matter what's going on in the market. But
And
hey, so
again,
I have a
please find
yeah,
me
go
on
ahead.
LinkedIn, and I'll give you a side audit for free. I do want to make sure that you are fixing the right things.
Perfect. I love that. Thank you for offering that to our
Of
listeners.
course, yeah.
And Jaden will make sure that we make sure we connect you. And I'm having some ideas about some of my consulting clients, getting you connected with them to help them too. But that's another conversation. But what mistakes do you see small businesses making with SEO right now that could actually hurt them, other than the site, not doing a site audit, which I think is brilliant. That's a mic drop. But what else are they not thinking of?
Um, I don't think I don't think people are realizing how much AI is hurting them. It's a great, great tool. It's amazing if used correctly. Used incorrectly, you are just blending into everybody and not separating yourself. So, um, as AI calls it, just no more fluff. Make sure you get down to it, get down to earth, get down to the real topic. Um, really answer what people are looking for, because like we've talked about, human connection is more important now than it has ever been, and we're in a world where we'd rather just talk to ChatGPT for fun, and that's just what we do instead of going out and seeing real people and having real conversations. And so making that personal connection with a website or with an AI overview or with anything like that is a way that you can connect with someone, make a lasting impact, build brand awareness. um, but a lot of people are just putting something into ChatGPT and saying, "Hey, write me a blog post for this." And then they just copy paste, they don't read it. You could be putting out false information. You're putting a lot of, information that's hidden under all of the ChatGPT jargon that's in there. Um, so there are ways to do it. For example, if you want to write an article on something, ask AI to ask you 10 personalized questions about it, so that way you can provide your expertise. Um, say, for example, I'm writing about SEO for chiropractors, and I do that currently. But Google and ChatGPT and all the LLMs, they want to see that you have experience. They want to see that you have that authority. And by having them ask you those questions, you can provide an answer that nobody else in the world can. Um, so adding even just that simple prompt helps differentiate it. The other thing I do see too is people are writing near me. in their articles. So a lot of people will search like plumbing near me on Google, and people think that you have to put plumbing near me in your article. It doesn't help at all because anyone could search plumbing near me across the United States and we could all be trying to rank for it. So there are ways to incorporate it. I don't, I've done it a couple times just for testing purposes to see if it actually does anything. I've seen zero results from it. And it's even hard to differentiate a result because someone could be searching plumbing near me and find you because they're based in my region or because they actually searched the keyword plumbing near me and I somehow ranked for it in Sacramento or something. So don't add near me on your websites. It's tacky and it doesn't work. Google will take your location and proximity based off your IP address or wherever you are. And if you search plumbing near me, if I'm in Edmond, Oklahoma, it'll pull up plumbing in Edmond, Oklahoma. It won't pull up stuff from Wisconsin or anything like that. So don't add near me. And again, just write like a human. I mean, try and make that personal connection through a screen. It's hard, but it takes time. And people tell you that you need to put out 1,000 blog posts in order to rank. But if you can put out 1 to 2 a week, even just one a week or one every other week, even just getting content out there regularly that's humanized that people want to read, they're more likely to visit your page, and it's going to be worth it in the long run than just putting out 100 articles in 30 days because AI can do it for you now.
Yeah, thank you for saying that. Jade and I did a whole podcast on, very basic, utilizing AI really just to allow you to get time back. And we've used our experience. But I absolutely agree with you. It's, my mentor says 30, 40, 30, 30% your content, what you're putting in there, information that you're putting in there, 40% the resource of AI doing what it does, and then 30% you getting back in there and editing it and making it yours. I think it's really important that people understand what you just said. I have a friend of mine that is a very high executive at Microsoft, and she and I have these conversations. She's on a huge team of how they protect and weed out AI generated things. So you've got to understand she's at Microsoft. I'm sure. I mean, these very big think tanks are already working on how to make sure that you don't get an advantage by cheating. So I think it's and I trust me, y'all. She's smart. She's leading this team. It will happen. So I think it's really important. And I love what you said. If they can't feel you in it, they're not going to connect with you, right? I think that's really important. So thank you for that. All right. And I have to just laugh. I can't imagine me ever putting in near me, but that would be an Athena stupid thing to do if I didn't have smarter people that worked for me. So thank you for that because, some of us are just dumb. We would just be like, near me. Oh, okay, we'll do
I'm gonna
it.
be honest. When it started happening, it really became big like a year ago. I mean, people otherwise would just search plumbing and then the location they were in, but I don't know what sparked it. But a couple years ago, it started becoming a thing, and I was trying to research. I was like, how do you rank for like? Do I actually have to put plumbing near me in the article? And people are like, yes, you do, and people are like, no, you don't. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. And finally, everyone just finally came to consensus that it doesn't have to do with the words near me. It has to do with where you are specifically. And I was like,
No,
that checks out. Yeah.
that is funny. I actually get really frustrated with the near me searches
Why is that?
because, yeah, I'll put in near me and I've even made sure that my location thing is right. And near me, they'll give me something 35 minutes away. I'm like, I don't know what you think near is, but to me, that's 35 minutes is not near.
I will say
So,
it's
but
based
anyway,
off of proximity to the location, which again, it doesn't explain why it was 35 minutes away from you. And the other
yeah.
one is, how strong of a Google business profile they do have. So they could have had 5,000 reviews, and then you had one that was 5 minutes
Hmm.
away that had 10 reviews. And so those
Yeah.
5,000 5-star reviews are obviously gonna overtake the 10 because Google wants to make sure that you're happy with where you go because that is their whole business is giving you an answer to your problems.
Hmm. Well,
Yeah.
I've stopped near meing and I've started doing something else because I don't want to drive that far. But anyway, but I do use. I will say, um, I wanted a new restaurant, and I said my daughter loves Mexican, and I said Mexican, um, newer Mexican restaurants, and I put near me, but this one came up finally, and it's super near me, and apparently it's been there for like 2 years.
Hmm.
You guys, I have driven by this place every day for I don't know how long. and it's in a strip mall, so it doesn't look foofy enough for me. So I was like, I'm not going in there. But the reason why it ranked is because it has so many reviews.
Yeah. And
It
that's
has
one thing.
so
If
many reviews.
Yeah, if I could touch on that real quick, is reviews are
Yeah.
king. I mean, it is king. I've seen a few things where I'm not 100% certain, and Google's never actually verified this, that the newness of reviews. So sometimes I think they do a rolling 90-day count. So it's great to have, 3,000 reviews, but you also still need to continually get them. Just because you're outranking
Oh,
the person behind you, you need to start getting them over the 90 days. Again, I'm not 100% certain if this is true or not. Um, it's just rumors going around the SEO world right now. But it does speak to the fact that you need to always continually get reviews because even in one of my previous jobs, the one of the few reasons I accepted it was because I guess that sounds horrible, but one of the reasons I accepted it was because I looked at reviews and I saw a lot of positive reviews about the company. And the last negative review was in 2023. And so when I'm looking at something or 2022, and I'm like, oh, it's been X amount of time since they've had a bad review. This is something positive. So,
yeah, that's
yeah,
something we
reviews are
definitely
king.
have to work on in our businesses for sure. But that's what happened. This little hole in the wall I drove by, never would have gone, but their reviews were so anyway, so AI told me to check them out. And by the way, they're local and their food was off the charts. No one we went it's a small restaurant and it was standing room only. I mean, I was like, "Okay, reviews, right, made a difference." But and now I'm telling everybody about them. But all right, as we forget the Mexican food that my daughter loves so much, if you could only focus on 3 things in 2025 to win this war with SEO and zero click, what would they be?
Thank goodness 2025 is almost over, right?
Oh, 2026, sorry.
I'm
um,
like, by the time this actually comes out, I think it's going to be January. So
Yeah,
let's say,
2026.
whew,
Athena needs to get her years right.
um,
Now it's harder for you.
no, so the first thing I would say is optimize. If you're a local business, your website's great, but your Google business profile is more important.
Okay.
Um, Strictly because to get to a website, they either are searching your exact website and getting there, or otherwise you've got to rank in, the top 3 on Google Maps because that's usually what pops up first. And then the websites come below that. So fully optimizing your Google business profile. That includes adding your services. And here's a little hack that not many people know about. When you add a service into your Google business profile, you have to exit out of it. But then once you click back in, you can click on each description or each service and add a full description in there. So
Jada,
people
do you
just
know
think
this?
that
I only know this because Griffin pointed it out and I told him to proceed.
so yeah, you basically you type in the services and you think you're done and you're like, great, I offer this, 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 this. But if you exit out and you go back in, you can click
Mm,
on each individual offering, and then what you want to do is you want to write a description that has that offering in there, plus your keyword or plus your city
mm.
location. So you want to say, for me, it would be local SEO. Griffin Mott Consulting offers local SEO services based in Kansas City, Olathe, wherever, Kansas. And so that secretly adds a keyword behind what people are seeing on Google. It secretly adds that keyword for Google to know exactly where you operate, exactly what you do. So make sure you put that in there. Make sure you're adding updates, make sure you're adding offers. If you've got events coming up, please make sure you add those so people can see that you are up to date, you are current. Real photos is really important. For that Mexican restaurant, I'm sure they had a lot of great photos on their profile. The difference, you probably wouldn't have gone there if you went on there and saw someone's cell phone photo and it was a half-eaten piece of food or something that didn't come out right. I mean, you would have never ever gone there. So make sure you have very, very good photos on there, not stock photos, actual photos of your place, of your food, of your offerings. And then the last one is reviews. At least for that first point, is reviews, is making sure that you continually get reviews because reviews are always going to be king. They're never going to go away. And like the human interaction, people trust other people. So making sure that you get those reviews and get them often is important. The second one is going to be structuring your website. Like we've talked about, make sure your headings have the primary keyword. Make sure your title has the primary keyword. Make sure you have those FAQs that are in there that are actually questions people are asking, and make sure you've done the research to see if this is something that people are searching for. There are some tools out there that cost some money to use, um, but it's 100% worth it. I would say feel free to DM me and ask me any questions about it because it is very confusing to learn the first time, but it's a very, very important because you could be writing an article for absolutely zero people in the world, and there's nothing that hurts more than putting 5 hours into an article and getting no traffic from it.
Yeah.
So write human, make sure your headings are structured, make sure your keywords in there. And the third is citations, is make sure that Google knows that you're real. Um, Make sure you have your business listed on the Better Business Bureau, on Yelp, on Angie's, I guess it's Angie now, on Yellow Pages, on Nextdoor, on OpenTable. Um, there's two things. One's called a structured citation, which is a citation on a website like Yelp that leads back to your website. So they have a link basically to your website on there. And there's unstructured citations, which um, is when you have your information in there, but it doesn't link back. That still shows Google authority, even if you don't get a link back, because it's confirming that you have the right. It's called a NAF, which is your name, address, and phone number. It's confirming to Google that you are current on all of these platforms. Um, Actually, I have one more thing, if that's okay. Is the fourth
Please.
thing is
It's a bonus.
um, what I see a lot is businesses offer a lot of services or products, and what they do is they condense it into one service page. And what happens is you're just ranking for the keyword services, which then all of a sudden you're losing out on a ton of keywords. You're cannibalizing your traffic. So what I would please ask you to do to get a lot more traffic very, very quickly is to write pages about your specific offerings. So if you're HVAC, don't just have HVAC services and then list every single service. I would make a services page that has all your HVAC services, but then it's going to link out, like we talked about, siloing to another page. So for HVAC, you might have a page on HVAC installation. You might have one on water heaters, one on air conditioning installation, one on air conditioning repair. I mean, separate them out so granularly so that you can rank for all of these different keywords, because it is possible to rank for multiple keywords on a page, but if you have one page that's dedicated to a specific keyword, the chances of you showing up on Google are much higher. So make sure you separate out those service pages. Same thing with location areas. So if you offer, or if you're serving in different areas, again, like a plumber, make sure you list out exactly what cities you do go to. Because if someone's searching plumbing in this city and you just have, plumbing in the main city, you're not going to populate. So make sure you have plumbing in suburbs or surrounding towns or anywhere that you travel to. And same thing on your Google business profile. You can also add service areas as well. So make sure that you add your locations and where you serve.
Money.
Yep.
Money. Thank you. Now stay on. Just in case we want to bounce back to you. But Jada, we're going to go further down the rabbit hole of nerdinism. Do you have are there any stats to this? I know it's new. That's why I didn't know if there's any stats here.
Nerdinism is my new favorite Athena Bonics.
By the way, Griffin, we have Athena Bonics. I make up words all the time, and we just have a dictionary going.
So where do I buy that? I might start using some of them.
We need to sell it. It's hilarious.
Oh my goodness, no, that made me actually laugh. I love that. Yes, okay, so I did pull out 3 statistics. Obviously, this is, ever changing. But right now, nearly 60% of US Google searches are ending without a click. So in 2024, this is when the research was based on, 58.5% of Google searches in the US resulted in 0 clicks, meaning again that the users got their answer without ever clicking through to a website. And I mean, I'm so prone to that. I the other day Googled like how to make buttermilk without buttermilk. Like how do I make it at home? And it's just vinegar and milk, but as soon as AI told me what it was, I didn't go into any of the blogs for these chefs and everything. I just made the buttermilk. So just like I don't know, I'm prone to that as well. But and then the second one is AI overviews or AI summaries are converting more searches into 0 clicks. So it kind of goes back into the same thing. In May of 2025, similar web data showed that for many top keywords triggering Google's AI overviews, upwards of 71% resulted in no click-throughs to the source site. And then lastly, a large share of voice search answers come from featured snippets. So roughly 40.7% of voice searches answers are pulled directly from Google's featured snippets, making snippet optimization critical for voice visibility.
And our expert nailed them all.
Yep,
Go, Griffin.
sure did.
I love
And
it.
as I'm thinking about this, one last thing is
Yeah.
another stat that I think it's 60% of searches or 70% of searches start on a mobile device. And so the other thing is really making sure that your site is optimized for mobile. I mean, it's great if it's optimized for desktop, but almost all searches are now coming from mobile devices. So making sure that buttons are working, that the format works. I would say optimize for mobile first before you even optimize for desktop.
Ooh,
Makes
that's good.
sense.
That's good. All right, you guys. So I'm going to have some rubber meets the road, but it's going to be pretty simple because it's just going to be telling you to do what Griffin said. So I mean, really, hopefully you've taken some notes, but then here's the number one thing. And he said this, get your FAQs into content. He's told us that. He told us some strategy. He even gave you resources for this. He talked about reviews, right? He talked about how important reviews are, how keeping them current. I heard that, Jada. I know that's something we need to work on in both of our businesses. Um, and make sure that you understand what your people are searching. And he gave you also some ideas there. So that's the number one thing. I'm not going to go deep into that because listen to the podcast. He just told you how to do it. Number two, use natural and conversational language. Remember, you don't want to sound like a robot. We've talked about this in this podcast. Remember, zero click and voice search work off how people talk. So create content in a way that you'd answer someone face to face. No jargon. You said clarity. I don't know how many times in the podcast. Um, we're not using fluff.
That's
Stop
keyword stuffing
fluff.
right there. It's clarity.
Huh?
That's keyword
What?
stuffing. We put in clarity in there quite a few times.
Stop keyword fluffing or stuffing. Is it stuffing?
Stuffing. Yeah.
Stuffing,
No
like
more
Thanksgiving.
keyword stuffing. No more. Number three, structure your content. I can't say this word, snippets. Right?
There you
The
go.
scientist said it. Griffin said it. So you're using bullet points. He went through all this, you guys. Numbered list, clear headings. Remember? Clean, clear. Again, he said it.
Nice.
Yep, concise. And then test. This one hit me, and so I'm going to do this. Test your voice searches. Get out there, right? Go test them, find out, and figure out what you need to do in order to update those. I've never done that, so I'm going to go take my own advice, and we're going to have some fun in that as a team. And then update your Google business profile. You just went into depth on that. So getting into that, looking at the FAQ, answering, you talked about the different services, make sure that you have multiple links and reviews, all of those things. You talked about all of those things. And then number 6, detailed insight. Make sure that you post consistent, concise, clear information, making you the expert. Nothing I just told you was Athena's concept. These all came from our expert, so you can count on them. And he did a great job, you guys, of going into detail. This is definitely a podcast you want to save. If you own a business, you're going to want to save this one and make sure that your marketing team listens to the wisdom that was shared today. You guys, I can't express this enough. If you're in business and you're not taking this serious, you are hurting your business. We can tease about nerding out. We can tease about the details. This is called survival. You need to understand this, implement this in your business faster than I did. I needed Griffin a year ago, faster than I did, in order for you to ensure that your business thrives and stays relevant and successful. So anyway, I just want to say that the biggest thing is, you guys, let's not let SEO stop us, and the changes stop us from reaching the people that our businesses and services can reach. So take this serious, please. My biggest thing is, don't try to do everything he said at once unless you want to pay him. And then he'll still put you on a plan. But take one thing and start executing everything he told you over the next 12 months. And I promise you, be patient, you'll see results. So Jada, this was a great podcast. How do people connect with Griffin so they can get the resources he talked about?
Great question. So, Griffin, I know you mentioned your LinkedIn, so I'll make sure to link that. Is there anything else that you want me to link in the show notes? That way people can get in touch with you?
Yeah, if you want to visit our website, griffinmottconsulting.com, you can visit that in the show notes and visit our site if you want to get in touch, if you want to work with me, or if you just have any questions, just let me know. And then also LinkedIn, you can connect with me on my personal LinkedIn, which will be linked in the show notes. And if you have any questions about SEO, just DM me. I always like helping. I know small businesses are having some rough times out there, and so anyone that needs help, I'd love to help you and get your business up and going and your SEO marketing efforts a little bit more elevated. So
Love that.
Perfect. Well, I will make sure that your LinkedIn and your website are both linked in our show notes, and I will also link in our show notes a link to a link to download the season 7 resource guide. We are only on episode 2, so if you download it now, you'll get some goodies and sneak peeks at the rest of the season. And I'll make sure to include a link to join Athena's pre-sale book list because it will be coming out soon. So you join that list, you'll be able to get it in your hands at a discounted rate before it hits the shelves in stores. You'll also get some extra resources exclusive to pre-orders. And other than that, don't forget to like and subscribe below so we can join, or you can join us next week and we can join you as Athena brings some real talk and real strategies. We'll see you next week.
Thank you guys for being here.
Thank you.